Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my April TBR video. I'm planning on playing my TBR spinner game. I do it every month. I really enjoy it. Granted, I have not been reading the books very well. I've just been in a struggle sort of a season, but that's okay. I'm still gonna make my TBR because I enjoy making my TBR. And whether I read the books or not, I've just decided to choose something that brings me joy. So we are gonna play the game today, and I hope you enjoy it as well. So stay tuned for me to share all the books that are potentially going to be on my TBR, and then we'll spin the game to pick which ones are actually going to be on my TBR. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you've been coming for a while. So we're gonna play my TBR spinner game. I just basically spin a number wheel, which I'll share with you guys, and it will pick my TBR for me. So let's just first, I'll scoot over and I will share with you the books that could potentially be on my TBR. So the first set of books, so I do have two sets of kind of categories for this TBR. And so the first set of books are next in a series books, because I feel like my series are a bit getting away from me, which I don't like because then I forget what's going on. So I'm going to prioritize those, as well as my spring TBR, which I will put a link up above so you can go watch that if you are interested. Okay, so the first potential book is Hunting Prince Dracula, and then The Bone Shard Emperor, and then Ruin and Rising. And then Jade War, Thunderhead, and the second Finlay Donovan book, which I think is called Knock 'Em Dead. So those ones, and then The Likeness, and Tuesday's Gone, and Keeper of the Lost Cities, book number 3, so I think it's called Everblaze, and Liar's Knot. So those ones are all continuations of series. And then the next set of books are books off of my spring TBR, which I'm really excited about. The first one being The Husband's Secret, and then The Last Garden in England, and Clockmaker's Daughter. So those three are potentials. And then I do have some must-read books that I have for the month that have more to do with my reading challenge, which again, I'll link down below. It's just a Discord group that I put together, and we have a theme each month. And the theme for April is Flowers on the Cover, which again, see my spring TBR video if you want some ideas for books with flowers on the cover, and then a nonfiction. So I'll talk about those ones after we spin and pick the books, because as for the flowers on the cover, I put a poll on my Discord for you all to vote for which one you think I should read. So we will check that poll and decide which book that will be. But otherwise, let's pick some books. I think I'll pick 6 books. Like I said, I'm not reading a ton right now, but I still love options. So we'll pick 6 books. So let me get my spinner ready. Okay, so my spinner wheel is ready. So let's just do it. So my first spin. This is always so much fun. I'll scoot over so I can pop this up over here. So the first one takes a while. Is number 9, which is Keeper of the Lost Cities, number 3. This is called Everblaze. So that's officially on the TBR now. All right, let's spin again. Wait for it, wait for it. This is a long spin. Okay, the next one is number 11, which is The Husband's Secret. Oh, that's fun. That was one of the ones that were an option for the month, and I don't think it's going to win, but if it is, that's just a 2 for 1. So here is something else that's going to be on my TBR. All right, spin number 3 of 6. So let's see here. How's this gonna go? Number 4. Number 4, Jade War. Oh, that's a big one. That's number 2 in the Greenbone saga. So that's on my list now. Moving on, it's a spin number 4. Spin number 4. Let's see. Number 3. It looks like number 3. So number 3 is Ruin and Rising. Oh, that would mean that I would finish this series, which I've been kind of working through. So this is the 3rd book in the Shadow and Bone series, Ruin and Rising. All right, spin, whoa, spin number 5. Spin number 5. Oh, there's a couple good ones left. Oh my gosh, the ads are terrible. Okay. Number 12, looks like number 12, The Last Garden in England. All right, so good historical fiction. So this is by Julia Kelly. All right, last spin. Last spin. Let's see what it comes up with. This is a good TBR so far. I'm really excited. More ads. Okay. Number 2, The Bone Shard Emperor. All right, well, there we go. The next book, the 3rd book, comes out soon, or maybe it already came out. I'm not sure. So this actually is something I did want to pick up, and I enjoyed the first ones. Okay, guys, so here's my stack of books that I have for my potential reads for April. And let's just go through them. But let me actually start with, I'm going to start with my must reads, the reads that are for my reading challenge. Like I said, one book is a fiction book with flowers on the cover. Another is a nonfiction. So I'm going to go on Discord really quick and pull up the poll. And like I always say, you are more than welcome to join us. It's a fun group of just reading books together. So I'll take a snapshot of this and put it up here. So you can see that letter F won with 6 votes, and that is The Once and Future Witches. So I grabbed that book, and that's the book I will be reading for April. So this is a book that I will definitely read, and I'm really pretty excited about it. I wasn't expecting a witchy book in April, but that will be fun, as well as my nonfiction. But let me just tell you real quick about this book, and we'll just go through the whole stack. I'm going to tell you all about the books. So the first book that's on the list is Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. So this book seems really fun. It kind of has those magical elements. Obviously, it's kind of a witch book, but it also is historical in nature, which is why I was interested in it to begin with. So 1893, and there is a group of sisters in New Salem, I believe. Yep, in New Salem, and there's some things going on, and there's some scary stuff, and it sounds like they have to kind of bring back the old ways, maybe some witchcraft. I'm not quite sure, but it does sound really fun, and I'm not sure if this is a series or not. I meant to look that up, but I didn't. Regardless, I'm going to be reading this one. And so if you want to join me on this, let me know. If enough people are interested, I will put together a thread on Discord and we can chat all about it. So let me know down below if you're interested in joining me for this, or just let me know in Discord. So that's my fiction book for April. And then I'm pulling over my nonfiction from this month, from March into April. It's totally fine. I would prefer to have finished it and to pick another one for April, but you know what? I'm really enjoying my time in this book, and it's called Truth and Transformation, A Manifesto for Ailing Nations by Vishal Mangawaldi. It's really good. And so I'm a little bit into it. This is my son made me a Valentine's, which is my bookmark. Anyway, so far, this is really just about this man, this scholar from India, who is making observations about really the Western culture and how it operates and how it is different from his own culture in many different ways, and how that has led to a lot of successes in the West. And he pulls in some Christian tenets like sanctity of life, marriage, and things like that, as to how that has led to the success of the West and in comparison to his own country and how that has been set up. So it's really, really, really so interesting. Anyway, so I'm really enjoying this, and I'm just going to continue reading it in April. So those are the first 2 books that are more to do with my reading challenge. Let me talk about the books that the spinner wheel picked. So in no particular order, because they're just kind of stacked here, I'm going to start talking about The Last Garden in England. This is by Julia Kelly. This sounds really interesting. It has to do with this garden and women across time, basically. So there's 3 different time points, or maybe more than that, but there's present day, 1907 and 1944. and it talks about how these women were impacted by this special garden. I don't really know what's special about the garden, but I like that idea as to how a place could be impactful. It really reminds me of the women of Chateau Lafayette, and I just love how sometimes those multiple timelines can really feed into each other. So I'm really excited for that one. And then I have the third book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I'm not sure why I always forget what it's called. This one's called Ruin and Rising. And really this whole trilogy is about this girl named Elena, I believe. Elena. I always say it wrong. I'm going to call her Elena. And how she found out that she had powers, basically, that she was gifted. And she found this out in the first book when she was going with this regiment of soldiers into what was called the Shadowfold, which is this dark place full of kind of scary monsters. And it was terrifying, but then her power kind of revealed itself and saved everybody, which started her on the path of being trained as what's called a Grisha. And the story goes from there. And now we're into really the third book and the final book. So I'm really excited to finish it, but I also want to know what happens to her. And I'm pretty sure it is a YA fantasy trilogy, just in case you wanted to know that. Okay, so the next trilogy I'm working on is the Greenbone Saga. So this is the second book in that series. It is called Jade War by Fonda Lee. And so in the first book, which is called Jade City, it really sets the stage for this place that specializes in jade. And jade is only found on this island in this city, and jade can be used by specific individuals that can use it to really enhance their abilities, like running, jumping, all these things. And so how much jade a person has makes them more influential and powerful in this society. The interesting part about this book is it's set up in kind of this faction of gains, like it's a gain war, kind of like territories and things like that, where these two groups or two families are working to kind of take over the other group. And there's a lot of politics. And I really did enjoy the family that we are following. We are following the Call family and all the different members of that family. So I enjoyed the first one. I do want to get back into this. So I'm really glad I picked next in a series for this April TBR, because I really want to get back into some of these stories. So that is Jade War. All right, so another book that happened to have flowers on the cover, but is from my spring TBR, is this book. So I've been talking about this book for a while. I feel like it's ended up in numerous videos. It's an older book. It is The Husband's Secret by Leanne Moriarty. Still haven't read anything from her. I want to. And so this is the one that I'm going to start with. So this has to do with a couple. So this woman finds a letter from her husband, I think in the attic or something like that. And it's one of those like, if I die, open this letter sort of letters. But her husband's not dead. And so she calls him and she's like, what is this? And he's like, oh, don't open that. And she's like, I won't open it, I promise. And then she opens it and it goes from there. I'm so curious what's in the letter. I feel like I've given that blurb as to describe this book so often. And now I just like, what is in the letter? So I feel like I'm definitely going to pick this up, especially if I need a quick read, which I feel like that will give me a quick read. This one also will be pretty quick, I believe. So this is the third book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series. This is a middle grade series about a girl named Sophie. This is all by Shannon Messenger. I forgot to say that. And the third book is called Everblaze. So this is about a girl named Sophie who grew up in the human world, but she had kind of unique challenges, and then some circumstances happen and she learned that she is actually from the elven world. She gets taken there and to a school to train her up. But what has been happening in the first couple books is she's been learning about her powers. She's been learning about her gifting. She's learned also that she's very unique, to the point that kind of scares her and scares like the elders of the Elven society. And so there's things going on, and there's bigger plot arcs that are very interesting, but there's also a lot of kind of middle school angst, if you will. There's a lot of kind of crushes and things like that. And I have heard from my sister as well as my niece that this book is maybe the one that's the most like annoying in that sense of like the crushes and oh my gosh, this boy or this boy sort of idea. But if you get past this book, it gets better. So that's what I've heard. I have really enjoyed the other two though. They're really quick reads. They're very entertaining. So I feel like I will still be entertained, and it's nice for me to know ahead of time that that's kind of the tendency in this book, but I am looking forward to reading it. So that's Everblaze. All right, the last book that the spinner wheel picked for me is this one. So this is The Bone Shard Emperor, and it's part of the Drowning Empire series. I don't think I knew that, but I'm glad it's labeled on the book. And so again, this is good. I want to get back into this world. I want to figure out what's happening. And so in the first book, we follow the main character of, I think, Lynn. Yep, Lynn. And she's the daughter of the emperor. And the emperor has what's called bone shard magic. And he uses that to rule this area, this kind of group of islands. And he does it in ways that the people aren't super happy about. So there's kind of some rustlings of rebellion. But then there's this daughter that wants to learn the magic, but her father says she's not ready. And then she goes behind his back to learn some of it. That all happens in the first book, and a lot of other stuff. And so I'm really curious to know where this goes, especially after the way the first book ended, which if you've read it, you know what I mean. It just ended with a lot of stuff going on. And so I really want to get back into it. I enjoyed the magic. I thought it was very unique in kind of how the bone shards work, how they can be written on, and it's like encoded in certain languages to make the shard do something or enable the construct, which is just these like robot animal things to do what is needed. I realized that didn't make tons of sense, but it was really interesting, and I really did enjoy that aspect of the first book. So I want to get back into this one. So that is my sixth and final option for the month. I have no idea how the month is going to go. I really hope I can get back into reading. I hope I can feel just a bit more balanced in my overall life, but I really do enjoy making these videos. I enjoy having a stack of books that I can pick from. It never stresses me out because I don't have the expectation on myself to read them all. But yeah, it's a good group. It's a kind of new group. I feel like I've had some books on my TBR kind of constantly lately, and these are all new ones. So I'm excited for that. So let me know down below if you have read any of these books, if you love them, what your thoughts are. Again, if you want to join me for Once and Future Witches, please join the Discord. It's always down below. We have a good time in there. So that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to. Otherwise, guys, I will see you in the next book video. All right, take care.